The sky was torn apart with a terrifying sound. A meteor shower started falling to the earth like heavy rain. The most perverted people history has ever seen were about to be destroyed with fiery stones. They had become spoiled with wealth and gone so far in sexuality that they started doing things never done before. For their pleasure, they raped men, enslaved them, and then killed them. For years, a prophet was sent to call them to the right path and to leave these perversions, Lut. But they did not stop and even threatened him. They even set a big trap for him together with his wife. Finally, Allah sent his angels in the form of handsome men. When they tried to attack and rape them, the punishment became certain. And at that moment, fiery stones rained down. The earth shook and began to swallow them. Some were caught in the act of sin, and their bodies turned into stone. The punishment fell upon them like a heavy darkness. They sank so deep that the place became the lowest point on earth. The Quran foretold this 1400 years ago, and science later confirmed it. What was left of them were stone bodies with shocking expressions on their faces. If you are ready, you will now watch the terrifying destruction story of Sodom and Gomorrah. Before moving to the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and turn on notifications. This way, you won't miss our next videos. In the 1800s BCE, in the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, there lived a people who were very rich and had everything they wanted. This place is located in the area between today's Palestine and Jordan. But even now, strange and frightening sounds are heard there by visitors. In this region, which is the lowest place on earth, the curse of the people of Lut still continues. In the Lut lake found in the area, no living creature or plant can survive, and even the radiation levels are unusually high. This muddy lake is also called the Dead Sea. This land, covering an area of 600 square kilometers, lies about 430 meters below sea level. Maybe it remained this low because it sank along with the people who once lived there. The people of Sodom and Gomorrah were wild and immoral. They committed all kinds of immoral acts never seen in earlier nations. Their population was about 500,000 people. Most of them openly lived homosexual relationships in front of everyone. The feeling of shame and privacy was lost. They even mocked the few who still kept their honor. The sexual acts they did in public were sometimes not even consensual. They raped others, and for the powerful and the rich, this became ordinary. Perversion became institutionalized and turned into a lifestyle. They even encouraged others to do the same. Homosexual marriages were performed. They lived in the same houses, held parties, and organized competitions for sexual acts. They played very frightening games, sometimes ending in death. One of these games was played on young male guests coming from outside the city. It was a stone game. The people of Sodom, holding stones in their hands, would throw them at the new visitors in the city. Whoever's stone hit the guest first, that person would rape him. This became their tradition to welcome guests. The immorality of the region was beyond imagination. And of course, they didn't only play these games with outsiders, but also with the weak among themselves. When the wildest of them wanted to kill someone, they would first order that he be raped to torture him and then kill him. The people of Sodom and Gomorrah silenced anyone who tried to stop them. When they saw good people, they would say, "Let these leave from among us." In the Quran, it is stated as Belhumadal, meaning they had fallen even lower than animals. Prophet Lut was sent at such an extraordinary time of evil. He was tasked with calling this perverted people to guidance. In the Quran, Allah describes him as an honorable prophet who was favored over all the worlds because he was fighting against great immorality. Imagine having to go to a place you wouldn't even want to pass by, living there and warning them. This was the sacrifice Lut made. Even if he had to stand against 500,000 people, he started to convey the truth. Day and night he tried for their awakening. But while struggling alone, there was no one to help Lut. Although he was the nephew of Ibrahim Alaehis Salaam, he stayed apart from his uncle because he was sent to Sodom and Gomorrah. Only his wife and 2 daughters were with him, but soon even his wife would betray him. The intense struggle and efforts of Lut are described in the Quran as follows. Their brother Lut said to them, "Will you not fear Allah? Know that I am a trustworthy messenger sent to you, so fear Allah and obey me. I do not ask you for any payment for this. My reward is only with the Lord of the worlds. Do you leave the wives your Lord created for you and go to men instead? Truly you are a people who have gone beyond all limits and become perverted." Lut is described in the books as a prophet of medium height, fair skin, a beautiful face, and a pleasant smile. His profession was farming. He was devoted to worship, generous, patient, and righteous in his struggle. He was also hospitable and loved to host guests. Allah also says in the Quran, "And as for Lut, we gave him wisdom, judgment, prophethood, kingship, and knowledge. We saved him from the town that used to do shameful deeds. Truly, they were a wicked people who did evil. We admitted him into our mercy, for he was among the righteous." The people of Sodom began to deny Lut's message and rejected his call. Thereupon, Lut told them about the seriousness of their immorality. He said to them, "Are you committing a shameful act that no one in the world has ever done before you?" He warned them that their evil actions would lead them to disaster. But they tried to drive Lut out of their land. The response of his people was nothing but, "Expel Lut and his followers from your town. They are people who want to remain clean." Remaining pure, living with honor and chastity, was considered a crime in the eyes of this wild and immoral people. Since filth was their spiritual food, they were disturbed by clean people and threatened Lut. "O Lut, if you do not stop this call, you will surely be among the exiled." Lut reminded them of Allah's punishment as described in the Quran. Indeed, Lut warned them of our severe punishment, but they doubted these warnings. They did not understand the horror of the calamity that was to come and did not care about the divine threat. With arrogance and disgrace, they said to Lut, "If you are truthful, then bring us the punishment of Allah," and did not give up their perversion. This was now the beginning of the end. When the angels of punishment set out to destroy the people of Lut, they first visited Ibrahim. But Ibrahim did not know they were angels. He welcomed them with hospitality. As it is an important tradition among the prophets to honor guests, he immediately had a calf prepared and placed it before them. But the angels did not eat the offering. This caught Ibrahim's attention, and he felt something strange inside. Wondering why they didn't eat, he looked at them. At that moment, the angels revealed their identity and said, "O Ibrahim, we are angels sent by Allah. We have been sent to punish the people of Lut." When Ibrahim heard that the angels would destroy the people of Lut, he said, "But Lut is there," and became very sad. His dear nephew, that good man, had tried so hard for his people, but time was up. The angels had descended, and they would soon go there. Tears filled Ibrahim's eyes, and he swallowed hard. Ibrahim was more than just a prophet. He was also a great friend, and he felt deep sorrow for Lut. Once, Lut had stood by Ibrahim, supporting his call, and together they had fought a great battle of faith. Now Ibrahim showed the same loyalty and love for Lut. This story is filled with deep wisdom, showing the friendship between Allah's prophets, their mutual loyalty and faithfulness, and how mercy and divine justice come to pass. The destruction of the people of Lut Lut, under very harsh conditions, struggled for 40 years according to one narration. But the oppression and immorality of his people had reached an unbearable level. The people of Sodom remained indifferent to the punishment of Allah, and even went so far as to demand it, making themselves fully deserving of severe punishment. Lut, faced with this desperate situation, took refuge in his Lord and asked him for help. He prayed to Allah, "My Lord, save me and my family from what they do. My Lord, help me against this corrupt group." For years he had worked for the happiness and guidance of his people, but only very few, along with his 2 daughters, believed in him. Even his wife sided with the wicked people. Therefore this prayer was his last resort. Allah sent angels to destroy the people of Lut. Even though these angels came in the form of young men, their appearance awakened the wicked desires of the perverted people. They tried to harass them. This incident is described in the Quran as follows: "When our messengers came to Lut, he was distressed for them and felt worried for them. He said, 'This is a difficult day.' When Lut saw the angels in the form of young men, he thought they were human and feared that his people would harm them. As mentioned in Surah Araf, verses 80 and 81, sexual perversion was widespread among the disbelievers of his people. The people of Lut ran to him. They had already been committing those vile acts. Lut said, "O my people, here are my daughters. Marry them, for they are purer for you. Fear Allah and do not disgrace me concerning my guests. Is there not a single sensible man among you?" According to some scholars, when Lut said, "my daughters," he meant the daughters of his people, not his own 2 daughters, since a prophet is considered the spiritual father of his people. But the blind and maddened people of Sodom replied, "You know we have no claim to your daughters. You know well what we want." Lut said, "If only I had the power to resist you or could take refuge in a strong fortress." The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, mentioning what Lut said to his people, explained, "May Allah have mercy on Lut. He was indeed taking refuge in a strong place, his Lord. By the blessing of this prayer of Lut, Allah granted all prophets after him kinsmen and supporters." The angels then said, "O Lut, we are messengers of your Lord. They cannot touch you. Leave during part of the night with your family, and let none of you look back and except your wife. Surely what will happen to them will also happen to her. Their appointed time for destruction is the morning." "Is the morning not near?" they said. The wicked crowd attacked Lut's door one last time, but suddenly all of them were struck blind. The Quran reports this truth as follows: "By my might they asked for Lut's guests, so we blinded their eyes. Taste now my punishment and my warnings." According to Fakhruddin al-Razi, one of the angels was Jibril. When the mob broke down the door and entered, Jibril struck them all blind with one movement. In their panic, they could not even find the door to escape. Lut even took them by their arms and threw them out. Because the people of Lut committed the great sin of LGBTI and others remained silent about this injustice, Allah first struck them with a terrifying sound that deafened their ears. Then the sky split open and the region was struck by a meteor shower from space. But this was not just random stones. Each stone was aimed at someone specific, and the stones rained down for hours. No one could escape them. They entered homes and destroyed everything. Thus, the destruction and erasure of this great nation of 500,000 people from history became possible through these meteor stones. Allah declared that He left this as a lesson for later people. Indeed, in this are signs for those who learn. They are still on a path that is visible today. Surely in this is a sign for those who believe. In Surah Ankabut, verse 35, it is stated that clear signs were left after the destruction of this immoral people, so that later nations could take a lesson. Indeed, we left there a clear sign for people who use their reason. These signs have been explained as the stories about what happened to the destroyed people, The ruins of their towns, the stones that rained from the sky, and the dark rivers that flowed afterward. Lut Lake and the miracle of the Quran. Allah orders people to take lessons from the destruction of the people of Lut and states that the ruins of destroyed nations were left as a warning in human history. The clear signs carried by Lut Lake are truly remarkable. The geological condition of the land around Lut Lake is as striking as the events that took place there. The surface of the lake is 430 meters below sea level, making it the lowest point on Earth. The deepest point of the lake itself is more than 350 meters below its surface. In other words, the deepest point of Lut Lake lies about 800 meters below the surface of sea level. In the rest of the world, the lowest points are no more than about 100 meters below sea level. It is as if even the structure of the land reflects the lowness of the people of Lut. Moreover, in Surah Rum verse 3, this area is referred to as the lowest land on earth. Indeed, when modern technology examined the lowest place on earth, it was confirmed to be the basin of Lut Lake, as pointed to in the verse. Since it was impossible for the people at the time of the Quran's revelation to know such a geological fact, this truth is one of the scientific proofs that the Quran is truly the word of Allah. Another feature of Lut Lake is that its salt level is around 30%. Therefore, no fish or plants can live in it. This is why it is also called the Dead Sea. The fact that even animals cannot live in this cursed place is another lesson. The lake, black as pitch and spreading foul odors, seems to present the sins committed around it to humanity through its appearance. In 1965, during excavations by American archaeologists, more than 20,000 tombstones were identified in the area. They even found remains resembling petrified humans. If you look at the videos and photos, they truly look very much like people. Among those remains is said to be another human-like stone, thought to be Lut's wife, Wahila. In 1947, a Jordanian shepherd who lost his goat discovered a cave. Inside the cave, he found many strange things, including about 40,000 Hebrew and Aramaic manuscripts. The events about this cursed nation as described in the Quran are estimated to have happened around 1800 BCE. The ruins of the cities sank into the ground due to the divine punishment. After the punishment, Prophet Lut and his family. Lut had two believing daughters. One of his daughters was named Resa or Risa, and the other was Razia or Lida. During the destruction of the people of Lut, they left Sodom with their father and the believers and were saved from Allah's punishment. Later, Lut went with his daughters to Ibrahim. Ibrahim married one of these daughters to his son Midian, and the people of Midian descended from them. The death of Prophet Lut. It is not known how long Prophet Lut lived after the destruction of his people, or exactly where he died. According to one narration, his grave is near the village of Beni Naim, east of Hebron in Palestine. The life of Prophet Lut is marked in human history as a story of struggle written with faith, patience, and determination. His determination to convey the divine commands and call people to the right path, even to a society deeply corrupted by immorality, became a symbol of his prophetic mission. Prophet Lut was both a warner to his own people and a lesson for the future. The hardships he endured highlight the importance of faith and morality in human life, and his story shows how divine justice manifests. Islamic view on LGBTI issues. LGBTI has remained one of the main topics of moral debate even in modern times. The period of our world in the last 20 to 30 years is the one that most resembles the people of Lut in world history. Since the 1970s, the number of people in the West openly declaring this sexual orientation has increased greatly. The LGBTI movement in the world has begun to turn into a kind of sexual fanaticism. In 1973, for the first time, the American Psychiatric Association declared that this was a right and not a disease. The president of the association, Robert Spitzer, announced this. But in those days, LGBTI themselves protested this decision, saying, "Why did you take away our right to be treated?" and marched, because there were people who wanted to be cured of this condition, and preventing those who were uncomfortable with it from seeking treatment while institutionalizing it was heavily debated at the time. The president of the association even considered reversing his steps, but lobbies did not allow it. The reason for the lobby's refusal was, of course, this sector. Look at the places where LGBT is prominent. You will see two things are also very intense there: alcohol and drugs, and the pornography industry. People cannot discuss this because LGBTI is portrayed as a symbol of freedom. Thus, anyone who voices an opposing view is accused of being bigoted and anti-freedom. Yet, if freedom of expression exists, then this topic cannot be untouchable like a taboo. Both sides should be able to express their opinions. In other words, those who want to spread LGBTI have every kind of power. They use movies, books, music, artists, series, and actors. In a magazine aimed at 7-year-olds, a story said, "I can't meet you today because I'm going to have surgery," referring to gender change in a children's story. If you look at the toys, you'll see girl-to-girl marriage dolls, boy-to-boy marriage dolls. Look at some of the hadiths of our Prophet Lut Salaam. When Imam Hassan was brought to him wrapped in a yellow cloth, he said, "What is this yellow color?" Showing even subtle messages about how life and upbringing shape people. Notice how it all started with colors. They began by saying there's no such thing as blue being a boy's color. Because this has turned into a sector and a lobby, they try to make it appear innocent. Just like the people of Lut, they encourage people. This is freedom itself, trying to make it attractive, propagating it in many Netflix films and series. They try every way so that people normalize and make this path easier. In this respect, they resemble the people of Lut. If you pay attention to their propaganda, their coercive attitudes are similar, and just like the people of Lut bullied and threatened to expel those who criticized them from society, the same is being done today. Everyone who does not think like them is excluded from society. However, to fight against this idea, we will turn to the Quran and the Sunnah. Why do you think the Quran speaks about this matter so much? Because we would face it again, and to teach us how to struggle against it. Let's first examine some modern studies on this topic. Some research has compared LGBT students to other students. It was observed that they had 5 times more tendency towards violence. Risky, suicidal behaviors were much higher. Sexual risky behaviors and sexual experiences at very early ages, as early as 13 years old, were also observed to be much higher. Studies also show that they report lower family satisfaction, are exposed to more bullying, and have to cope with higher levels of depressive symptoms. In a survey conducted in the West in 2011, the suicide tendency among straight students was around 5%, while among LGBT students it was 53.7%. These were students living without any external pressure, which shows that acting against one's fitrah leads to serious psychological crises. It drags people into slavery rather than freedom. An Islamic scholar said, "The result of an illegitimate love is to suffer mercilessly." When a person falls into an illegitimate love that goes against their fitrah, they suffer so much that even if people outside applaud them, they still live in a prison inside. Living in harmony with the laws of fitrah relaxes a person, improves their psychology, and brings peace. So, the greatest method of struggle is to help the person return to their fitra. And this is tied to matters of Iman, because the fastest way to return someone to their fitra is through Iman. That's why I need to say in conclusion, just like with other matters, the biggest way to struggle with this matter is also through Iman. Look at what Surah Shu'ara, verse 161 says. Their brother Lut said to them, "Will you not fear Allah?" Do you see what Prophet Lut was calling them to? He was calling them to Tawheed and Taqwa. Because if you teach people Tawheed, such immorality would not even appear in a person who truly understands it. A person with the identity of Tawheed will say, "My highest identity is servitude to Allah and living for His pleasure. This body is not mine, it's a trust given to me. Since it is a trust, I must ask, what boundaries does Allah, the one who entrusted me, want me to stay within? And they should seek and live accordingly. Every human is tested with different flaws, struggles and trials. Those with LGBTI tendencies can also overcome these difficulties with Tawheed, fight against it, find relief, and pass through life without falling into sin, without entering a forbidden relationship. In this way, they can reach very high ranks in the sight of Allah, even reaching spiritual levels that others cannot reach in decades. If we have LGBTI tendencies, some of the most important steps we should take are staying away from sinful environments, avoiding spending time with such friends for a while, and removing ourselves from those settings, and focusing as much as possible on learning lessons of Iman and remembering that this worldly life is temporary. In time, this problem will also be overcome, inshallah. May Allah guide all those who are seeking a solution in this matter to Islam and Iman, and may He never let go of their hands, inshallah.